Right, so a couple of days ago, I did a video on why you should buy the iPhone 14 Pro Max. Link in the video description for that one, check that out after this. But this video is 5 reasons why you shouldn't buy the phone. Because like with everything, there's always 2 sides to the story. So the number 1 reason why you shouldn't buy the iPhone 14 Pro Max is that there's been 0 change to the outer shell. This is fine if you loved last year's model, but if you expected a refresh after shelling out £1,000+ or dollars, or if you're like me and think that it's just simply too wide, especially for one-handed use, then you're going to be a little bit disappointed. Comparing it to a couple of similar looking Android phones, I know which ones feel better in the hand to use. Number 2, the dynamic island. Now, don't get me wrong, and for the record, despite the questionable name, I think what Apple have done with the animations and app integrations is nothing short of ingenious. It takes the one major flaw with the display and turns it into a really cool feature, even a selling point. But number 1, if you are going to be interacting with that dynamic island, presumably you are going to be leaving fingerprint smudges sometimes over that front camera, which you're going to have to clean in order to then use. And number 2, having a rather large pill cutout on your display is still a flaw. And certainly compared to phones on the Android side that have camera cutouts, it does look exceptionally large. And viewing content and gaming is going to be less than ideal. And some would even argue worse than the original notch for that, because it now comes out further down from that top bezel. Number 3, camera. Now, yes, again, there have been some major improvements to the camera, don't get me wrong. The new larger 48 megapixel sensor, better low light performance, and tons of new professional photography and videography features like cinematic mode. But in 2022, as well as large megapixel main and ultra-wide camera sensors, a lot of flagship phones are offering really high optical zoom telephoto lenses, the likes of 10 times, for example, whereas on the iPhone 14 Pro Max, we just have a max 3 times. This would be more than fine for just a quick punch-in, but if you are looking to take quite long distance zoom shots of cityscapes or animals far in the distance, then that's when you're going to notice the real sharpness and detail differences between the iPhone 14 Pro Max and a phone that has a higher optical zoom count. Basically anywhere past 3 times zoom. Number 4, colours. Now, this may not be a big thing for you. It's not really a big thing for me, but I know some of you get super excited about the brand new juicy flavours. Colours. It's not flavours. They're not flavours. It's not sweets. But subjectively, I think the colours on the 14 Pro Max aren't as good as last year's variant. You still have the staple silver and gold, but now gone are the graphite blue and green, which I really quite liked, and in come black and purple, which I'm not so keen on. Like I said, subjective, do you like the new colours? And number 5, battery and charging. Now, despite the improved A16 Bionic chip and the upgraded iOS 16 software, which could improve battery performance from last year's model, Apple are saying it will, the actual cell capacity is smaller than the 13 Pro Max. On top of all that, we still don't see Type-C charging, with Apple sticking to Lightning, which means if you have an iPad, for example, you will have to use 2 separate cables. And charging speeds, while fast, simply don't get anywhere close to some of the competing brands on the Android side. Apple advertise around 0 to 50% battery in around half an hour, while a lot of current Android phones can do 0 to full in that, or sometimes even less. Let me know what you think of all of Apple's brand new products. Are there any that really excite you, or are they just simply not for you? I recommend checking out this video next on why you should buy the iPhone 14 Pro Max. Make sure you come over to Twitter and Instagram to continue the conversation, and subscribe and turn on notifications if you want to be updated when I post. I love you and leave you. I'll see you in the next one. Says TP, peace out.